Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I know. It's been a while. I'm so sorry. Honestly, past couple of weeks has been crazy. I think I deserve some rest, some downtime. So I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna stand on it. That's the story and I'm sticking to it. Thank you. But to jump right into things, today's video, we're gonna talk about Jane Elliott, who is a famed anti-racism activist. She's most popular for this blue-eyed, brown-eyed experiment she performed with a group of kids in her classroom. Sometime earlier this past week, I came across a video on TikTok. This person who was attending one of her seminars or classes, I don't know what was going on. He was in this seminar with her, and unprovoked, somewhere in the conversation, Miss Mama says the N-word with the hard ER. If any of y'all follow me on TikTok, you know it's a zero tolerance policy. It's a zero tolerance policy for any non-black, especially a white, to be uttering racial slurs, especially the N-word with the hard ER. So trust we're gonna get into some things today. Oh yes, we're gonna get down to business. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna play the video for those of y'all who probably haven't seen it. I do have a special guest that's going to be here reacting to it with me. It'll be my brother, Mr. Lewis. All right, King, let's pull you up a chair. Let's pull you up a chair. Have a seat. Sit down. Let's give him a round of applause. Let's give him a welcome. Let's give him a welcome.
Hello.
Thank you. Let the girls know who you are.
My name is Ilyyy. Y'all good weather to Eric?
Yes, thank you. That's it. All right, perfect. Wait, you ready?
Yeah.
I've been called angry a lot.
You've been called what?
Angry a
Oh,
lot.
I thought you said I was going to say that. And I was going to correct you for that.
No, I don't.
But
You were saying not to refer to people as black or white. How do we bring attention to the disparities?
stop saying it.
But
And then they're going to
when-
say to you, I want to be called black. And then you're going to say, you want to be called vicious and savage and evil? I can do that for you. You want me to call your child vicious and savage and evil? You know the history.
Vicious. Savage. Girl.
You know the history of that word? Because if you don't know the history of that word and why it's used, and maybe that's the reason you're willing to use it. Once you hear the history of the word, I think you'll say to yourself, this is a good idea.
And
I don't want to call them black because it's a derogatory term. I know that for years it was seen as a derogatory term, so young blacks decided they'd be called black. Well, no, it's still a derogatory term. That's still the history of that word. And it still means that you are less than. Because white means goodness and purity, people. And if black means savagery and evil, which one do you want to be called? Which one do you want to be called?
How can you talk about a word and the history behind it when you just said the N-word, hard R?
I said that for him and for me, not for you to worry about, but you can worry about it if you want to. I never ever say that word, but I said that. Were you offended? No. Don't be offended for him. He can be offended for himself. You don't have to be for him. You understand that? He and I have met and have talked, and he knows where I'm coming from, and I know where he's coming from. And he and I don't see that as a derogatory term. We know exactly what we're talking about.
Wow.
You see it as a derogatory term, you hadn't better use it. If it's a derogatory term to you, don't use it. I ordinarily don't use it. I use it here with that young man. He's younger than I am, if he doesn't listen to anything. Number two, he's bigger than I am, and I'm not going to mess with him. Number three, he and I understand about that word, and we know it's unacceptable. Now, if the only thing you have heard, and all the things I've been saying here, is the word N-I-G-G-E-R, that means you're reacting to that and thinking about that instead of thinking about all the rest of what I've said. While these people were listening,
Yeah.
and you were feeling bad about the N-word.
Yeah, I feel like any realistic, genuine reaction, I feel like everybody in the stream heard you say hard R, maybe not everybody, and they were horrified.
No.
No?
No.
Why don't you speak for yourself, dear?
Honestly, thoughts? You have thoughts?
I'm shocked. And usually I'm not, But coming from Dr. Blue Eye, Brown Eye, who we saw on Oprah.
Doctor, she's not a doctor now. She's not a doctor now. And
I thought she was a doctor.
We gonna get into that because she's not a doctor.
She's not Doctor.
She's not a doctor.
It's not Dr. Jane Elliott.
It's not Dr. Elliott.
Oh, it's just Miss Jane Elliott.
Most definitely not Dr. Elliott. One thing I want you to take note of at the beginning of this video is the gasps. After the N word with the hard ER escapes her mouth. Everybody, you can hear her collective.
Velvet died.
The girls were gagged because they didn't think that was gonna come out of her mouth. Because it shouldn't have, right? And then later on, when the boy says, I feel like everybody was taken aback by like what you said, which is essentially that's what he said, right? Like he feels like everybody in the room was taken aback by her usage of the word so abruptly out of nowhere, unprovoked, and they all want to. Oh no
backbone.
We don't have an issue. No,
they got scared in the moment.
The first part of the video that deeply unsettled my spirit was she was like, "Don't be offended for him."
Hey.
She said, "Don't be offended for him. He can be offended for himself."
That's nasty work.
At this point, you can tell this is a woman who's feeling her oats. She knows that she's been pedestaled by the black community because the girls they be gassing her up. This is somebody who felt confident enough, and to the point where she felt like she almost had an entitlement or the right to say that word, and nobody, not even another white peer, could even question her, could even dare challenge her.
She thought she was one of us.
That's my thing.
She thought she earned her stripes.
We're gonna come back to that later because that's what's pissing me off.
She thought she earned her stripes.
That's what's pissing me off. It was the don't be offended for him. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you to be checking anybody about whether or not you can use that word? She literally goes on to say that he and her don't see that as a derogatory term. And they both have a common understanding on when the appropriate time is to use it. Another part of the video that I don't see a lot of people discussing is her use of the word blacks. She literally uses the phrase young blacks. That should have earned her a couple slaps. Because who and what are you referring to as young blacks?
I want to know what we should be called now. Because according to her, we can't be called black. So I just want to know what should we be called?
She does not possess the critical analysis to be having these conversations. And we're going to get to that too, because this whole like human race talking point that she's parroting is devoid. She
did say that.
It is intellectually bankrupt. The part of the video where she says, "Oh, he's young, and if he doesn't listen to me, I'll spank him."
It's roots.
Are we, bitch? Are we back doing chattel slavery? And that's another thing. You know, as somebody who recently went through an experience a couple months back where a coworker of mine asked me where my master was, and in that moment, like, I was so overcome with emotion and just amazement at the gall. I understand what it means to be in a situation where you're under pressure, you're not really taking in like things that people are saying to you and you're not able to process it until after the fact. I get it. But that doesn't make watching this from an outsider's perspective, it doesn't make watching this video any less frustrating. It doesn't make it any less annoying to like witness this on camera and you want to like advocate and show up on behalf of that person. I wish that boy or whoever she was talking to in that moment had somebody in that room advocating for him, because these people will try it. These non-black folk, especially the white folk, they will try you. They will try you. And if you're the only one with the minority opinion, the minority perspective, you'll find yourself getting caught up in like the overstimulating aspect of it all. Like somebody actively triggering you and you freeze up, you tense up. You don't advocate for yourself. You don't show up for yourself in that moment. Jane. Later in the clip, she goes on to say something to the effect of, "Oh, if all you heard from this conversation was me saying the N-word with the hard ER instead of listening to everything else I said, then that means you were too busy focusing on the fact that I said the N-word." trying to downplay the impact, the historical basis for why people would respond negatively to you as a white woman saying that word. And it's not like she said nigga.
Hard R.
It's not like she said nigga. She said the N-word with the hard E-R. Okay? She tries to like delegitimize his concerns, trying to make him out to be like some sort of like he's stupid, like he don't know what he's talking about.
Shoot him
and
off.
The thing is, when he first brought it up, he was very much like asking the most critical question. He brings up the fact that early on in the conversation, she's addressing the fact that these words, vicious, savage, evil, are all things that our society ascribes to black. They assign those meanings to blackness as an identity in the US. If you understand that, then why would you again use a word that's historically been used to subjugate black folk? Why would you then use that word yourself?
That's the part that gets me. She used a derogatory term in the beginning, and then somebody asked her a question about derogatory terms, and then she goes on to explain how she doesn't want said people to use derogatory terms.
Like I want us to be very for real.
What are we doing?
I want us to be very, very, very for real.
What are we doing?
It's making me sick, Jane. Play with somebody else, Jane. And it's the people in the room when he brings up the fact that y'all, like everybody in the room had a visceral reaction to what you just said, like the word that you uttered.
Heard the gasps.
All the bozos in the room over there talking about stuff. Oh no
backbone.
No.
I don't feel offended. Yeah.
Defending a white woman saying the N-word with the hard ER in the name of anti-racism. My God. You know what really did it in for me? It was after the fact everybody was like, no, we didn't take offense to it. No, we didn't tells him, speak for yourself.
Jane really did a number today.
That shit really fucked me up, bitch.
Really did what today?
It really did. Y'all let that lady walk around that room in her Dr. Scholl's, utter a racial slur with her chest in the name of anti-racism work. Doesn't that reinforce that sense of racial superiority?
Yeah.
Everybody's bending. Everybody in that room is bending the knee to this white woman who has positioned herself, who centered herself within the movement for black liberation. This woman has been on Oprah. She's been on all these different talk shows. She's quote unquote world renowned. She don't even hold a degree.
I thought she was a doctor.
She don't hold a degree.
I thought she was a doctor.
She got an emergency certificate to teach children.
Crazy. I'm thinking she's a doctor this whole time.
No.
I'm thinking she has a PhD.
You would think.
I thought of her. I said Dr. Jane Elliott.
You would think sitting on Oprah's couch, she got a fucking degree. She don't.
She was certified.
She's recognized as an anti-racism activist. By whose merit? By whose merit? Tell me quickly. By whose merit? She has no degree. Only degree that I'm aware she has is like an honorary degree from, I think, CSU. I'm gonna have to fact check that. I'll probably put it up on the screen. She has an honorary degree, but she has no PhD, not even a master's, a bachelor's to work with.
Not even an associate's?
She's not in, from my understanding, she's not in community with any black theorists, any black essayists, thought leaders. So where's she getting her information from?
Oh, so she's just freestyling? She's just...
Yes!
she's on Hot 97?
Literally, since the beginning.
Woo!
Since the beginning.
Oh, she's an improv queen. That is crazy.
Honestly, my question is, like, where is she getting her information from? Who is she in community with?
Right.
What did she learn? Where did she get her instruction from?
My thing in the video is everybody's looking to her as a resource. As the resource, the person, the expert.
As a purveyor of education and truth and justice.
What it seems to me is like you can't tell her anything, like because she thinks she's an expert. She thinks she knows it all. Like she thinks that she's been in the trenches when she really hasn't.
Child.
She hasn't been there. She doesn't have a lick of understanding, and so for her to sit up there and say, no, don't be offended for him.
But that's the thing, right? Because the reason why she felt comfortable in doing so is because just like the people that were there in that room with her, you have people who have taken in these interviews that she's done. You've had people who, came across her work, quote unquote, on Oprah, on all these different talk shows. She's had, I think, a documentary done about her. For years, for decades, we as a community, black folk, I saw her videos circulating on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok.
Oh
for years, this woman has been pedestaled. She's been revered and quite literally canonized as like a white savior. The one and only acceptable white savior that is allowed to cross those boundaries.
Right, they think she can't do no wrong. They think whatever she does is within good reason. Oh, we cannot question Jane.
Listen, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if it's Sarah Paulson. I don't give a fuck if it's Haley Williams. I don't give a fuck if it's Jane Fonda. Or any of them non-blacks like y'all be going up for a pedestaling Betty White. I don't care who. There is never an appropriate context, time, or place where a non-black, especially a white person, is allowed to use a racial slur, especially the one ending in ER. I'm following this conversation online, specifically on Twitter, and people are like, it's other black folk who are like, oh, why are y'all so up in arms about it? It's not like she outright called him the N-word with the hard ER. She was just saying, oh, that's what she heard. That's what she thought she heard him say.
So we're not hearing the same thing.
And then they're trying
watch the same video.
And then they're trying to bring up the fact that she's been doing this anti-racism work for over, a period of years, a certain amount of time. They're trying to act like she's a tenured ally.
Girl, that's the bare minimum. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to. And continue to do it.
The black community is giving her like SSI, Social Security. She lived, breathed, and died for this shit. So she earned her stripes.
She's an OG.
She's invited to the cookout. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of this shit, truly. And so they're talking about her. They're defending her. They're talking about her as though she's like this tenured ally. She's done her time. She served the community. Therefore, she can sit among the rest of us and go as far as using that word. They quite literally gave her the black card.
They're caping for her.
And this is why I say the NAACP needs to start sending out cease and desist. They need to start sending out cease and desist, because who gave this woman the authority to say the N-word with the hard ER? And be above reproach. Be above accountability. It's not like in all these years this woman has ever said anything of substance. It's not like
we already know.
It's not like she came up with anything new. Like I said, black thought leaders, black essayists been saying the bare bones of what she's been parroting all of these years.
The other crazy thing is white people they can tolerate hearing it from a white person. So when she came out doing all that she did, they were, oh, we realize now.
But you know what's funny? The people from her hometown, they don't fuck with her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, after that little experiment she did with the kids.
Oh,
they essentially said,
I don't want you teaching my children.
They said, should you ever show up in our fucking town again, we're gonna fuck you up.
The thing is, they can digest it better from her, which is surprising because, like you said, this is stuff that we already know. This is all stuff that black theorists, black activists, we already know this. The black community already know this. So for her to sit there and act like that she's being a person of expertise and educating us and schooling us on stuff we know is crazy.
I feel as though if you're a white person who's only able to take in this information and critically engage with anti-blackness, discrimination, and racism through the lens or through the perspective of another white peer, you are not truly doing decolonial work. You are not
getting it from the source.
And it's not even about that. It's the fact that if you need that buffer, if you need somebody, a white person, to hold your hand and coddle and teach you things,
guide you,
because you can't see it, you can't find it within yourself to take in that information from a black person with lived experience. I think that thought process is inherently anti-black, and you don't consider the lived experiences of a black person coming from the mouth of a black person as legitimate, as something worth listening to, as somebody worth receiving instruction from. You don't view that person as a worthy educator of helping you unlearn your anti-blackness and helping you decolonize the ways in which you view black folk. And to that point, I feel like the very reason why she even felt comfortable uttering that word in that space is because she knew that these people would allow her to do so.
There would no reproach. There'd be no reproach.
And that parasocial attachment they have to her, and the mere fact that they revere her as some sort of educator icon, a know-it-all, that in and of itself would work in her favor. And it would allow her, it would embolden her to say whatever she wants in this space, knowing that they're gonna gag at it. They're just gonna eat that shit up. Beyond that, one of my takeaways from this is like, to be following this conversation on Twitter and to see black folk actively caping for this woman, fighting for her right to say the N-word with a hard ER, what does that say about what we're willing to accept? If we're being honest, she's done the bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
She's done the barest of minimums.
Like you said, it's already stuff we know.
She not even a Jane Fonda. She wasn't out here, in the streets protesting, kicking police in the face and all that. She didn't even get there.
She's not active like that.
For her to be taking up so much space, to have done the little bit of work that she's done, and I feel like even that might be, giving her too much. For that to be the case, and to see how far people are willing to go to defend and cape on this woman, we're not ready. We're not ready for liberation.
Black liberation is still far.
We're not ready. We can only
widening.
We can only imagine.
Imagine. It's a dream.
We can only imagine liberation at this point. That's what I truly feel like. I feel like liberation can only exist in our minds. The girls don't want to see it come to fruition. Y'all don't want to see it in the flesh. And that scares me. That scares me. Another point I want to bring up, another point I want to address is the fact that this woman is essentially credited as the person who created the economy for DEI. After her little experiment, she would go on to offer her anti-racism services to corporate institutions. She would offer anti-racism trainings. She would go to whatever entity was seeking out, her training services, and do a version of her experiment. The blue-eyed, brown-eyed thing.
I only knew her from doing it on Oprah and then doing it a few more times, like on TV.
Matter of fact, I'm going to read to y'all something that she said, like, on the record while doing this work. If you can't think of any reason for getting rid of racism, think of it as a real money saver. Oh, tell me this is not somebody who's trying to make a coin off the plight of black folk.
Oh my gosh.
Tell me. It's giving grift. It's giving grifter. It's giving griftiana. Like, no, but you can't tell me that.
Money.
She's doing this for the money. She's a grifter. This is somebody who quickly realized, after all the attention, after all the social capital she was able to amass from this little experiment that she did, this is somebody who quickly realized, ooh, there's a couple of dollars I can make here. And it takes me back to my question, who is she in community with? What education? What knowledge, what background, what work, where is the credibility? Because I don't see it. I don't see it. So for her to essentially be the face of like modern day DEI, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And it's a testament to the fact that white people in DEI spaces cannot be trusted. And I can genuinely say this as somebody who's coming up off a job that I was just fired at, where I repeatedly complained to my HR manager about a white member of leadership asking me where my master was, accosting me in the warehouse, being overtly discriminatory and culturally insensitive towards me. I reported all of this to my HR manager. He did nothing. And guess who was leading the DEI committee at our organization? Guess who was leading the DEI meetings at our organization? Guess who? Guess who? That white HR manager. You have these people who occupy these spaces, who take up these positions. They don't have the range. They don't have the critical analysis. What business do you have as a white person with no racial literacy, what business do you have leading DEI meetings? Tell me quickly. Jane Elliott is the Sean King of white people. Well, hold on. I might have to rethink that because Sean King is the Sean King of white people.
No, that's a bar.
Talcum at
That's a
barely made the cut. We must be honest. We must be.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
We must be.
That was a good one.
I really do feel as though part of this conversation also has to do with respectability politics. Mm-hmm. Do I have the language to, flesh out my thoughts in this video? No. I'll probably address it in some later video. Watching this video is really triggering to me because, again, like, I'm coming up off a termination at a place of employment where I had a white man come up to me asking me, "Where is your master?" Followed that up with, "Oh, are you scared of the chain link fence?" And the only reason why he was able to do that, the reason why he felt emboldened and had enough audacity, enough gall to ask me such a question is because he had he had the community backing as a public service worker, having worked in, various organizations and worked on various initiatives for many years. This man is in pharmaceutical commercials for pertaining to, HIV, right? And so you have these people who occupy these spaces who think that they're doing community work and they've earned their stripes. They feel as though they have, some kind of seniority. They feel as though off of that merit, they are allowed to speak to whomever, however they please, irregardless of race, irregardless of the social climate. And to me, that is unacceptable. I'm still stuck on the fact that they call her an anti-racism activist, educator.
And you gonna say that hard R just like that?
You educate with what degree? You would think like a degree in communications, a degree in African American studies, psychology, sociology, something.
Sociology, like just some study.
Something. And I'm saying that, right? I keep emphasizing this degree part because I'm only going by the standards of like whiteness. They're only willing to engage black folk in conversations about race in the US if they have degrees, because they feel as though that educational background and that academic study is what legitimizes our experiences as black folk. And so by that same metric, you're somebody who knows about racism. You're an anti-racism educator and activist. Where's your degree? Who are you in community with? And this is why I'm really harping on this whole education thing, because one of the persons in that video asked a very important questions. They said, I don't remember exactly what they said, but they asked her, if we can't use the terms black or white and make that differentiation, how do we highlight the disparities in treatment towards black persons living in the US? And she wasn't even able to critically answer that.
She didn't
answer it.
She just focused on
the way society views black folk and blackness.
So
and said the whole vicious, savage, evil beast.
Right.
You didn't answer her question.
Didn't answer the question. So the thing is, what should we be called? What should be referred to as?
Her whole thing is literally calling people the human race.
Well, we should be one. Oh.
And that's what pisses me off. This is what pisses me off. She sounds like Pharrell. She sounds like Pharrell. If I'm not mistaken, I think Pharrell is one of many folk who's parroting that human race
Morgan
bullshit.
Freeman said that shit too. He was like, why do we have a Black History Month?
She couldn't even answer a legitimate question about how do we address the disparate treatment of black folk in comparison to white folk in the US. If you just refer
to everybody as humans and you see that there's an actual, like, a certain group, a certain race of people actually going through actual oppression, How do you address that if you don't want them to be labeled black or white? How do you
And the thing is, I'm all for, doing away with the racial hierarchy. To do that, we also have to contend with the historical subjugation of black folk within the United States. Mm-hmm. You have to call a thing a thing.
Hey, you gotta have to call a spade a spade.
Dismantling that hierarchy, to your point, comes with dismantling systems of oppression that continually oppress and suppress black folk. We're not gonna do this whole one race, human race bullshit and create an opportunity where white folk feel as though they can skirt accountability for the many ways that they continually oppress black folk and disenfranchise us.
It goes back to that, just forget about it. That one trope, they're like, just forget about it.
No, that's what it gives. That's what it gives.
Just forget about it. It happened.
It's that colorblind shit that they be talking about.
That pisses me off.
That's what it is.
She did. Hey, one time she was on Oprah. She was talking about how we're a salad. She said that before. Oh my gosh. She said we're a salad. She was like, you wouldn't take the cucumbers away and the carrots and the croutons. She said, no, you put them in together. We should be blended. She said that before. I swear on everything.
Bitch, you're lying.
No, I swear on everything.
What do you mean by melting pot? That we put everybody together and mix them all up and they all come out the same so the white folks feel comfortable with them? We don't need a melting pot in this country, folks. We need a salad bowl. Salad bowl, you put in the different things. You want the vegetables, the tomatoes, the lettuce, the cucumbers, the onions, the green peppers, to maintain their identity. You appreciate differences. A melting pot does not appreciate differences, and this country ought to be about appreciating differences.
What I'm talking about.
It's giving emergency teacher certification. That's what it's giving. Is it not?
Exactly. Instead of really worrying about and focusing about the real oppression and the things that we need to eradicate and get rid of, they're worried about, let's make sure that we don't call you black or we don't refer to you by what you are. No, that's not what we asked for. We're asking for you to just not see us and say, Negro.
And this is my issue. She's the exact kind of person that white folk would seek out their unlearning of racism from. Because her analysis is flat. Her understanding of race is flat.
There's no nuance. There's no curves in it. There's no nuance.
Because how do we have bad bitches like Bell Hooks, Audre Lorde, and you have people like her who learn about racism in the U.S., slavery, learn about motherfuckers being in fucking chains, being whipped, and all you have to give us
a salad bowl?
In terms of critical analysis, all you have to offer us is a fucking salad bowl?
Croutons?
Jane! You know when I really was over her? You want to know when I was at my wit's end with seeing this woman? She got on a red table talk with Jada.
She did?
And them. Yes. And I mean, some of the stuff she was saying, it's stuff that you would hear like our black grandparents would say, like, oh, white people came from black folk in Africa, da 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 da. And it wasn't that everything that she was saying was like left field, or it was like just there was no basis for it. It was just everything about it felt like pandering. I'm gonna show you the video.
I'm not a white woman. I'm a faded black person. My people are from the equator, and that's the only reason my skin is lighter. That's all any white person is. Because we are great. Hey.
Oh, you're with her? Yeah.
No, there's no such thing as race. One race. There's one race, the human race, right? And we all came from the same black women, 300,000 to 500,000 years ago. The human race began with black women.
I'm sorry. Like, I know Jada, meant well. I know Jada was trying to, engage and sell the red table. She was trying to sell the conversation. But everything about it just, there was a cringe that ran through my body. I'm with you, Jada. I'm with you, Jada.
That's the reaction it gives. Yes! You go, girl.
And that's the type of shit that allowed her to be in that room and say the N-word.
That's that cookout thing that you
that's what I'm saying.
That's that cookout. Like, she can come and do whatever she pleases and she won't get backlash for it. Because to them, she's one of us. This girl called herself a faded black woman.
Bitch!
Do you know how that emboldens white people? Because they can go around and say the same thing too. Oh, I'm black as well?
It's like them. It's like them. It's like them Hispanic.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all don't want me to address that. Y'all don't want me to clock that T. Talk about some my great auntie is black. We must do away with these kinds of white allies. Y'all have to know your place.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know your place. Speaking over black folk, enough is enough. The nerve of you to assume the authority on whether or not you can say a word like that with such historical racial implications in the presence of another black person.
You know what's crazy too? It's the way she did it. She asked him, "Are you offended?" Don't answer that. Don't answer that. You don't feel offended for it.
That really angered me for him.
Like he couldn't get a word. He couldn't get a sentence. She said, "Don't answer that."
You barely heard when he gave her permission. No, you
didn't.
Yeah, we're tired. I'm more so tired of seeing black folk in community cape for these non-black folk, these white people who have no business being in these spaces, taking on these roles, calling themselves anti-racism activists. Like, please, let's choose peace and critical thinking this year, 2024. Because enough is enough. We've had enough. I think this is it for today's YouTube video. Please give a round of applause for today's guest in our episode. Yes. Come on, cultural commentary. That's what it's giving. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next video. I do have a couple of ideas drafted. I am working on like a title or a name for my pop cultural commentary series when I do talk about like things happening in like the celebrity sphere. But I do want to start making more like one-on-one videos where I'm getting like personal with you guys and I talk about like, you know, random things like dating or things that are happening on the world stage, like what's happening in Haiti, what's been happening in Gaza. Like, I would love to have more like deep dive, in-depth discussion. So let me know what you all want to see from me. And yeah, stay tuned. Yeah, I think that's it. Anything else you want to say?
Nah, but this was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, we're going to have you back. We're going to have you back because you laid that up. All right, y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things. And I will see you at the next video. Bye.